Here is Jack Barry and his juvenile jury, brought to you by the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company, makers of America's #1 cellophane tape, Scotch brand.
The tape with 1,000,001 mending, holding, and sealing uses around your home. And now here's your master of ceremonies for the juvenile jury, Jack Barry.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Juvenile Jury, the program in which we ask 5 average youngsters to solve a couple of problems which you folks at home have been nice enough to send to them. Now I'd like you to meet the 5 youngsters who are with us on this week's Juvenile Jury. First of all, up on the top row, there is Laura Diane Mangles. Laura, how old are you?
6 years old.
Seated next to Laura is Charlie Hankinson. How old are you, Charles?
I'm 10 years old.
Right down here in the first row alongside of me is, coming from Kingston, Pennsylvania, Richard Goodall. How old are you, Richard?
8 years old.
And that little youngster right in the middle is Susan Silva. How old are you, Susan?
4 years old.
And last but certainly not least, there's Billy Knight. How old are you, Billy?
6 years old.
Thank you. Nice to have you all with us on Juvenile Jury. Okay, kids, in just a moment we're going to solve the problems the folks have sent in, but right now the Scotch girl has something to say, so hold everything.
Did you say hold everything, Mr. Barry? That's one of the many ways that Scotch brand cellophane tape can be useful around your house. It holds dozens of things in place, like the shelf paper, for instance, in your kitchen or in your closet. Just a few strips of Scotch brand cellophane tape will keep the paper from slipping. It takes such a little, but it helps such a lot. Keep this handy plaid dispenser right out in sight to remind you to use it very often. For all the holding jobs around your house, Scotch brand cellophane tape. Be sure when you buy cellophane tape that you ask for Scotch brand. There's only one by that name, you know. And when you come right out and ask for it, you're sure of getting the best and not some substitute. So for all your holding jobs, hold out for the first and foremost Scotch brand cellophane tape.
Thank you, Scotch girl. Now, kids, our first problem came to us from Mrs. R.S. of West Hollywood, California. She, of course, will receive a $50 United States defense bond and enough Scotch brand cellophane tape for every member of the family for a full year's supply. And here's what she writes. She says, my 8-year-old son has to appear in a school play in the part of a little Scottish boy, and he has to wear a kilt. He refuses to do so because he says all the children will tease him and call him a sissy. I tell him it's perfectly all right for any man to wear a kilt, but he says he just won't be teased. What should I do about this? Billy Knight?
Well, so what if his friends tease him? Like, if my friends tease me, I just tease them right back. I just give them the same baloney that they gave me.
Wouldn't you mind wearing a kilt, Billy?
No. So what? A lot of men wear kilts.
They do?
Out west, some people wear kilts. You know, there's Scotchmen out
A Western Scotchman, yes. Sure. Susan Silva? Susan Silva?
Well, I think I don't think that I don't think that people should tease her because if somebody teases somebody, it isn't nice.
Oh, well, of course, if somebody teases nobody, that's a lot better. I know. Would you like to wear a kilt, Susan? Why not?
I don't want to.
You know what it is?
No.
Oh. Well, that's the thing you see the Scotch people wear in praise. You know, they sort of like a little skirt, green and plaid, like our Scotch plaid design. Okay. Richard Goodall?
Well, I think that he should wear the kilt because so what if his playmates will make fun of him? The next day they'll be playing with him again and they'll forget all about the whole thing. So for one day, I think that the boy should do something that he doesn't want to do, because it's not going to do him any harm, is it? I hope not.
I don't think so, Richard. I think that's very well put. Charlie Hankinson?
Well, I don't see why this boy shouldn't wear the kilt just because he's afraid that the children will tease him after all. I mean, a kilt is might he think it's a skirt, but if he ever went over to Scotland, he'd certainly see all the men with the kilts on. Therefore, if anybody should tease him, he should just tell them. Why don't they go over to Scotland? Then they'd see them with kilts, and in that way, why shouldn't he wear them?
Well, you're making it complicated. All his friends will have to go to Scotland on a trip this summer.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's the way you put it. There's no reason why he shouldn't do it just because he's afraid he'll be teased. After all, I was once in a play and I had to wear one, and I wasn't
Oh, I
afraid.
bet you look darling, Charlie.
Well, maybe I think I did.
All right, Laura Diane Mangle?
Well, if he has a play in school, I think so, that he should wear a kilt, because someday I bet that there's going to be a Japanese play or Hawaiian play, and I'll be just so happy if it happens, because I've got those suits, and if my friends tease me, what do I care? If so long as it's good for me, I'm going to do it, because if it means a suit to me, one of the suits that my father sent me, I'm going to wear it. Because he went to the trouble of sending it to me.
Yeah, well, that's pretty nice. You'll send all your friends to Japan if they tease you, I suppose. Billy, you satisfied with this whole thing now? Have we settled this problem?
Yeah.
And you still would wear kilts? You don't want to change your mind?
It's all right if you wear kilts.
I didn't say me, I said you.
Well, it's all right if I wear kilts or anyone wears kilts.
All right, as long as your kids all
Means
agree.
if they take a trip to Scotland,
No, here we go to Scotland.
they'll find every single person wearing kilts, every single man wearing kilts.
All right, well...
And then the men
Fine,
there will make fun of the children because they're wearing pants and the men are wearing kilts, see? And then the children in Scotland complain that they don't want to wear pants, they want to wear kilts.
They don't want to wear pants. I see. Well, I don't think all your friends ought to go to Scotland, and I think this boy will recognize, as Laura has said, that it might be good for him to wear these kilts, and it'll be fun to be in the school play, so I think he should wear them. Now, I'd like to take just a moment to remind you about our address in case you want to write in for tickets to come on down and see the show, or if you have some problems you want to send to us, too. The address you write to, you simply write to Juvenile Jury, box number 363, New York, New York. Well, now, kids, once again, as a regular feature of Juvenile Jury, we invite our younger listeners to present their problems in person. This week we have a young man visiting with us who comes from Jersey City, New Jersey. He's 4.5 years old. His name is David Lieberman, and here he is. Come on out, David. Okay, David, now suppose you tell the kids in the Juvenile Jury what your problem is.
My mother wants me to be a dentist, and my father wants me to be a doctor. What should I do?
What a problem this boy has got. Kids, you want to ask any questions? Charlie Hankinson?
Well, which do you want to be?
A doctor,
Well, why?
because it's a very fine and fine profession. It's a very fine profession.
Well,
Pretty good.
why doesn't your mother want you to be a doctor?
Because she thinks it's a very hard life.
What is your? Well, why don't they wait a while before they decide what you should be?
Because I don't know.
David, let me ask you something. What would you rather be a doctor? What kind of a doctor would you like to be?
A pediatrician.
A what?
A pediatrician baby doctor.
Now, if I only knew what that meant. A baby doctor? Why do you want to be a baby doctor?
Because I like babies.
Oh, that's cute. Any other questions here? Billy Knight?
Well, why do you want to be a doctor?
Because it's a very fine
And noble profession, yes. I know.
Yeah, a noble profession, but there's one thing else. There's other jobs that you can get more dough from.
Well, that's what you get for going to those cheap doctors, Billy. Well, all right, but he's more interested in the noble profession than money. Susan, do you want to ask a question?
I don't think I like babies too, and I like to be a nurse.
Say, you two could get together swell. Richard?
Well, I don't think you should start deciding about what you're going to be, because by the looks of you, you're quite a young boy yet. By the time you get to...
Oh, well, don't let his looks deceive you. He's really 43.
But by the time you get old enough to be a doctor, you might have changed your mind. So why don't you wait a little while, and then you can find out what you'll be. Because when you get a little bit older, your mother's not going to be telling you what to be. You'll be what you want to be.
That might be true. Dave, why don't you want to be a dentist?
Because dentists have to drill teeth and then pull them out.
Not all the time. What about your daddy? What does he do?
He's in the leather and finding business.
In the what?
Leather and finding business.
Leather and finding business. Okay. Any other questions here, kids? Let's take a rundown. Now, I think you know all the facts. Laura, should he be a dentist or a doctor, or what do you suggest?
Well, why don't you take not any of those two things? Why don't you be what you want to be, what you want to be? Make your decision when you get older. When you get older, by then you'll have time to think about it. And by then probably you'll make your decision to your mom and dad.
All right, Laura. Charlie Hankinson?
Well, I think that you should be what you want to be, because after all, if you are what you are because you want to be it, then you'll be happy.
I am what I am because that's what I am, that's all. Richard?
Well, I personally couldn't tell you what you should want to be, but whatever you want to be, I think that's what you should be.
Okay. Susan? You think he should be a dentist or a doctor or a violin player? Or what do you think he should be?
Because my mom goes to the dentist too.
She does? Yeah, but do you think he should be a dentist or a doctor?
A dentist.
A dentist. All right. What do you think, Billy Knight?
Well, wait until he grows up like Richard said. I agree with Richard, because I know he'll change his mind. And when he changes his mind, what he wants to be, he can be. Because when he goes to college, he'll change his mind, and he'll go in the class where they teach you what you want to be.
I never know when you're finished or not, Billy. That's why I sort of wait. Well, I think that's good advice, though.
Communication ended, that's why.
Yeah.
And I say that means I'm finished.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you'd put a period on the end of it. But, David, I think that Billy's got good advice, and so had Richard. It's a little early in your life to make up your mind, both dentists and doctors. They're noble professions, and I think that as you get along later in life, you'll be able to decide for yourself. Thank you very much for being with us, David Lieberman. It was nice of you to come down. Bye, David. Attaboy. Well, that's very good. Glad you solved that problem, kids. Oh, I'd like to tell you all about a little repair shop that I pass by occasionally. There's a big sign in the window, and it reads, "We mend everything but broken hearts." Well, that's a pretty large order, of course, but Scotch brand cellophane tape could give them a close run for the money. For example, in your home or in your office, you'll find that Scotch brand cellophane tape can make a paper tear practically invisible, make it disappear, absolutely. Say an important letter gets torn. Well, trust Scotch cellophane tape to mend it in a matter of seconds. It's that easy to use. And trust it to mend any paper so you can still read every word. It's that transparent. No wonder you'll find Scotch brand cellophane tape not only in businesses and offices, but used there just as much as it's used around the house. Make sure that you keep a couple of thrifty rolls on hand, or treat yourself to a handsome desk dispenser. Don't forget now, next time you're at the store, pick up a roll or two of Scotch brand cellophane tape. Will you do that? I'm sure that you all know what to look for. You look for the dispenser with the plaid design and the words Scotch brand, which stand for America's #1 cellophane tape. Thank you very much. Kids, now we have another problem here. It came from a Miss C.K. of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She'll receive, of course, a $50 United States defense bond and a year's supply of Scotch brand cellophane tape. Once again, we're going to ask you kids to use your imagination. We've done this before. We asked you to tell us about how the stars stay up in the sky and how television works. Well, we got another one of those. We don't expect you to know too much about this. We're more interested in finding out how your imaginations work. So this woman wants to know a little bit about electricity. And her question is, what makes an electric bulb light up? What do you think, Billy? What makes an electric bulb light up?
Well, this is true, and this is how it does light up. They've got certain factories that water flows and work certain machines that flow electricity through wires, and when the electricity hits the bulb, the voltage builds up, and then the light bulb goes on.
You know more about it than I do, and I got a script here in front of me. Susan, how do you think an electric bulb lights up?
You have to have electricity, too, because, see, you have to have, if the light is all the way up, and you can't catch it, you have to go up with a chair. And if you have a bulb, you have to have electricity.
Oh, but if it's way up, you have to stand in the chair to get it, I see. If you haven't got a chair, I suppose you can't get the light on, huh? Is that how it works in your house? Uh-huh. Did you ever stand on a chair and try to get the light on?
I can't catch it. My mother does.
Oh, I see. She helps a little bit. What do you think, Richard? How do you think it works?
Well, I think that electricity was a very good invention for the person who made it, but because when he made it in a certain way that you could just press a button or something like that and the light went on, or something like that. But I really think that it runs through wires, and it just comes into your house to the bulb, and then you put this switch on and the bulb lights up.
Laura, how do you think electricity lights the bulb up?
Well, I think there are wires in the water in the ocean.
Oh, boy.
And I think through those wires, electricity comes. And the electricity that comes through those wires through the water send the light into the bulb. And when you plug it in,
You plug it in, the Atlantic Ocean falls in your house.
That little plug has something to do with that long wire that flows in the ocean. And the light, it brings light, and when you plug it in, the light goes on.
What makes you think there are wires in the ocean, Laura?
Well, that's well, my mother has a book of it, and she told me this from the book.
It says they have wires in the ocean?
Mm-hmm. And how to work electricity and how to make a bulb light up. That's there's wires on the very, very bottom of the ocean.
You know, you're so positive about this. Maybe there are. I don't know.
There are because the book says so, and straight from the electric company.
Oh, they were trying to raise the rates. I know.
So that's how I think the bulb lights up.
All right. Charlie Hankins, how do you think it
Well,
works?
I think that there's some gas in the air, something like that, inside the bulb. And when the electricity hits it, it lights up, and it gets very hot inside and makes it light up. But they tell me that when Edison invented it, there was some kind of a vacuum or something in it, and the bulb wouldn't work as good. But now, nowadays, with the gas and the air inside of it, when soon as the electricity hits it, it gets hot in there, and the bulb, and it gets so hot, the bulb lights up like it's fire inside the little gas.
That's quite accurate, Charles. As a matter of fact, it does light up because of the wires. The wires get heated, and it's caused by the electricity heating it. And then when the wires do get heated, then, of course, the bulb does light up. That's, of course, if the wires haven't been in the bottom of the ocean too long, because they got to get wet. Thank you very much, kid. It was nice to see you use your imaginations in this fashion. Now back to another problem sent to us by Mrs. M.P. of Chicago, Illinois, who, of course, will get a $50 United States defense bond and the usual supply of Scotch brand cellophane tape. She writes and says, my 4-year-old son goes to bed with his shoes and socks on. He says that he has to put them on anyhow as soon as he gets up in the morning, so this way he saves himself a lot of trouble. When I tell him his shoes will get the bed dirty, he says he'll sleep with his feet sticking out. What should I do about this? Billy Knight.
Well, if he sleeps with his feet sticking out, he might smell up the house of the other one.
Now, this is a very clean boy, and he keeps himself very clean, and I don't think that would ever happen.
But he might smell up.
No, he wouldn't.
He might catch a cold.
Yes, he might catch a cold, that's right.
He could. And the other thing is, it's a very hard work to clean sheets. And wearing street shoes in the bed, it's not very nice. And twice as much as that. That proves that he's pretty lazy if he wears his shoes all through the night.
That does prove he's very lazy. Susan?
Well, I think he shouldn't go in bed with his shoes because I never do it either. I lift my shoes on when I sleep in the nighttime. I never go to bed with my shoes on.
Why don't you?
Because I like the whole bed dirty.
Oh, all right. Then you don't think he should do it either. Okay. Richard?
Well, how old is this child?
4 years old.
So, well, I think that the mother should try and explain to the child, well, if he keeps his shoes on at night, it's going to be twice as much work for her, and I think that she should put it in this way, that how would you like it if you were the mother and I slept with my shoes on the bed and then you had to clean it?
Oh, I'd love it.
And in that way, I think that the mother would explain to the child that it's not very good to do that.
Richard, I think you'd make a lovely mother. You say those things so understandingly, with such feeling. You're going to be a fine father, too, Richard. Okay. Laura?
May I please speak to Billy for a minute?
Well, by all means, go ahead.
Billy, remember last week when you said my record got stuck?
Yeah, now mine got stuck, huh?
Yes, because you say it so much. It sounds like, oh, whenever you say it again, it's going to sound like your record's stuck because you say it so much.
Yeah.
Well,
Billy, you have to turn around or else nobody will hear you.
There's one thing else, Laura.
what?
Sometimes your record gets stuck, sometimes Charlie's records get stuck, sometimes my record gets stuck, sometimes everybody's record gets stuck.
Yes, but
Because,
if you say it, you'll sound fresh. I suggest you don't do that.
Yeah, and there's one thing
You're
else,
safe.
Laura. Like a real record gets stuck, humans' record gets stuck, see?
Yes, but if you wouldn't say it, you won't insult them.
Yeah, but there's one thing else, Laura.
Why don't you kids take your problems to the United Nations or something? Because we have to get on with the program right here. I think it is very bad for this boy to get back to the problem to sleep with his shoes on. Of course, it'll get the bed dirty, and it's a very, very uncomfortable way for him to sleep. So I think that he'd better stop that right now. And now, kids, you relax a minute because we have a word about packages from our good friend, the Scotch girl, who's a pretty nice package herself.
Did you ever envy the neat job of gift wrapping that your favorite store turns out? Well, come here and I'll tell you their secret, because it's something you can use to your advantage, too. Yes, professional gift wrappers seal their packages with Scotch brand cellophane tape. Want to see how you can do it, too? First, a small strip of tape in the center to hold the paper while you work. Then, tuck in the sides, fold, like you see here, and fasten the end with another strip of Scotch brand cellophane tape. You notice that Scotch cellophane tape sticks at a touch without moistening, and it makes a neat, tidy package. There's no sense, really, in doing things the hard way, when this handy plaid dispenser does a slicker, quicker job every time. So look for the genuine, one and only, Scotch brand cellophane tape, and stick with it.
Thank you very much, Scotch girl. Now it's time for our second in-person guest. A young lady has come visiting with us from the Bronx, New York, who has a problem she wants you kids to solve. She is 3.5 years old, and her name is Greta Brewer. Greta, come on out here. No, this way, Greta. Greta's going over to my seat. I don't know why. Come on up here in the jury box, Greta. That's right. Atta girl. Okay, Greta, suppose you tell the kids in the juvenile jury what your problem is.
I am a little girl and I have so many questions, and they say, stop answering so many questions, so how am I going to learn?
What? What did she say? What? As I understand it, you ask so many questions, and people don't want to answer your questions, and you want to know how you can learn. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. She asked too many questions, kids, and nobody will answer it. Billy?
Well, why do you ask so many questions? People can get laryngitis and the guts can hang out by talking so much.
Why do you ask so many questions, Greta?
Because I'm going to be smart and be an entertainer and be an actress.
You want to be smart and you want to be an actress?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to be smart?
Because I want to be an entertainer.
You want to be an entertainer?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be an entertainer?
Because I want to introduce everybody.
You want to what?
I want to introduce everybody.
You want to introduce everybody? Glad to know you. Introduce me. Fine, okay. Don't go yet, Greta. We're not finished. Any other questions here? Charlie Hankinson, you have a question?
Well, what kind of questions do you ask?
All kind of questions about God and about school and about Bronx Park and about Samira's Park.
Well, who do you ask these questions to?
To people.
Sometimes animals, even.
I mean, do you ask them to your mother and father or to strangers?
I do it to my aunt, too.
Your aunt, too. She also happens to be a people. What does your daddy do, Greta?
He's an investigator, and he works for the insurance company.
He's an investigator for an insurance company? And what do you want to be when you get older?
I want to be a teacher.
Well, she just changed her mind. She doesn't want to be an entertainer anymore. Richard, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
Well, I think that you should wait a little while, and then when you get in school, you'll have as many questions as you want. And I think that when you get in school, after a little while, that will break you that habit of asking questions, and you'll get hard questions to answer yourself.
Uh-huh. Susan, you want to ask a question?
Well, I think you should answer questions because if when you go to school and your teacher will ask you questions, then you know all the questions which she asked you.
That's right. That's right. She should know all the answers. Billy Knight?
Well, I don't think she should get to know so much because then she's learning and she's missing, and to people who are telling her, they're stealing her turn of learning in school, and twice as much as that. She learns too much, and she's supposed to learn what she learns at home in school. And maybe she'll know all the answers, but I don't know all the answers in school, and I have to think, and I have to use
you're just
my
being
brain.
modest, Billy.
I have to exercise the brain. You've got to exercise the brain, not just exercise the muscle. but exercise
All right, that's good, Billy. Well, let's take a rundown now, kids. Exercise your brains a little bit, and tell Greta here whether or not she should ask all those questions. Laura, what do you think?
Well, I think, what do you think a school is for, Greta? Well, when you go to school, that's when you learn these things.
All right.
The way you're asking these things, it might not be the way you're supposed to learn in school.
Okay, Charlie?
Well, I don't think you should ask so many questions because when you go to school, you get most of the answers. You get the answers to all your questions you ask. Meanwhile, now while you're young, just enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Very well said, Charlie. Greta, you're 3.5 years old, and you're an unusually bright young lady right now, and I think that you'll learn a lot more when you go to school, so you ask some questions, but I certainly wouldn't pester anybody with too many. Okay, Greta, thank you very much for being with us. Goodbye, Greta. Now it's just about time for us to go, but before we do, here is a final word from your neighborhood grocer.
I'm selling food. Naturally, I keep my eyes open for ways of saving time and money. Well, let me tell you, I found one sure way of doing both. See this big tape dispenser? It's what's known in the trade as a heavy-duty dispenser. And I always keep it loaded with large, store-sized rolls of Scotch cellophane tape. It's great for sealing bundles. Does a quick, neat job on meat and cheese packages. And get this, I can seal as many as 17 packages for a cent. I use tape for sealing all my cellophane bags, too, for holding up signs and price markers in place. And, well, dozens of other uses around the store. One thing you can be extra sure of, I always stick with Scotch brand cellophane tape, because I found there isn't anything just as good. The one and only original Scotch brand. That's for me.
Next time you're out shopping in any kind of a store, just notice how many different ways which Scotch brand cellophane tape is used. And do this, will you? Stick with the tape that storekeepers prefer. Scotch brand, America's #1 cellophane tape. We'll be back next week at the same time. Until then, goodbye and good luck from Laura Diane Mangles, Charlie Hankinson, Richard Goodall, Susan Silva, Billy Knight, the Scotch Girl, and of course from me, Jack Barry, with this closing thought. Out of the mouths of babes, oft times come gems. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week, and tape it easy. Bye.
When you buy cellophane tape, be sure you get Scotch brand and not some substitute. Look for the word Scotch and the plaid design on the dispenser. Remember, Scotch brand, America's #1 cellophane tape, is made only by Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing, the 3M Company. Juvenile Jury is a Jack Barry and Dan Enright production, directed by Craig G. Allen. Technical Director Robert Daniels.